Welcome to the episode of the Award Central podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are diving back into the 2026 Oscars that are a mere, 5 months away, I think? I don't know. October, November, December, January, February. Yeah.
6.
March. Well, it's already, we're already in
Well,
October.
or we're
Well,
we oh yeah. We're definitely in October by the time this goes out. So yeah, 5 months.
yeah. Yeah. So 5 or 6 months, it's the mass there. I mean, it's way later in the season than we care for it to be. But that being said, I am joined by my partner here, Benji. How are you today?
Very good, sir. Very, as always, very happy to be back. This is one of my favorite parts of the year, being able to talk about the award circuit. So let's dive in.
Yeah, dive in. Today, we're going to look at all four acting categories. We're starting to hone into our thoughts. We're starting to take a look at movies being released. There's still a lot to be said, still a lot to be talked about on all four categories. But while it's early, a lot of the things that are in some of these categories are have already been seen quite a bit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
There's some still anomalies out there in the world that haven't been seen by somebody. You know what I mean? But that being said, we're starting to craft into some of these, in our opinions, some of these locks per se, and then of course, then you have to go down from there. Of like, there's a scramble for the rest of the nominations, and with the recent release of One Battle After Another, which um, not only lived up to the kind of the expectations that were presented upon it, but exceeded
But
them.
completely
And
surpassed it. Yeah.
you know what I mean? We're talking about a powerhouse of a film that I think I'm writing down in semi-permanent marker that it's probably going to win Best Picture. But that's a different podcast for a different day. But let's go ahead and dive into supporting actress first, Benji.
Nice.
Go ahead and give us your five currently in on Best Supporting Actress, and then I'll give my five, and we'll talk a little bit about both sides.
Well, we're still relatively early into the season. We haven't had any precursor nominations yet. So I've decided for this one, I'm going to be like a little bit risky, but not too out there. I'm being a little bit idealist, but also trying to be realistic, trying to like weave down what's most likely to happen, trying to get the best odds. So my number one, until I see the movie and I think otherwise, as long as it at least lives up to the first one, I've got Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good. Number two, I've got. I'm really sorry to this person if in a one in a million shot she's watching. Inga Ibsdotter Liers for Sentimental Value. That's a hell of a name. Number three, Tiana Taylor for Battle After Number. Number four, this is like me indulging myself a little bit. Amy Madigan for Weapons, and number five, Chase Infinity for Battle After Another.
Yeah, so this is where things get a little bit interesting, right? We released our predictions on the website, earlier or last week, you know what I mean? And it's crazy how fast the shift of some of these
Yep.
predictions can happen, right? Because a week ago, I was like, you know what? This category might not be as strong it's not, it still really doesn't feel as strong. And I think a lot of it has to do with some of the movies we have not seen yet. You know what I mean? But because of that, I'm still very not confident, I guess you could say, in my nominations. But right now I'm not even gonna try to say the name because you said it, but Inga from Sentimental Value. I do have Amy Magnan still from Weapons. I just feel like there's a strong chance that that could happen because
Mhm.
top to bottom, the category is right now, top to bottom, the category doesn't feel as strong. I'm gonna go double one battle here. I'm gonna go Chase Affinity and I'm gonna go Tiana Taylor. I just feel like this film is such a strong player, and I feel like this is where it's going to pick up a couple nominations that we've seen in the past where it's like, oh, okay, it's that serious of a movie. And then I got Gwyneth Paltrow for Marty Supreme, a film that I do
Mm.
think that's going to be quite strong at some point in another. Obviously, we don't know a whole lot about it yet. Once it's seen, we'll know a little bit more, and who knows when that'll be, I guess. But
Of
um,
course.
but yeah, those are my five right now. Talk to me a little bit about your five and how you feel about them.
I guess kind of going into like the one battle double nomination I'm currently predicting, I'm at a little bit of a war at the moment on what to do because Chase Infinity, in my opinion, is the better of the supporting actress performances in that movie. But she is younger, and whilst it's not always the case, I mean, last year we had Mikey Madison winning Best Actress and Timothy Chalamet being a pretty solid runner-up for Best Actor. However, she is particularly young, and they do tend to not be so generous when it comes to younger actors or actresses for some reason. So out of the two, I do have Taylor higher because, to be fair, she's only in the movie really for the first 45 minutes, but when she's in the movie, she is in it, and she does. To be fair on her, she really does steal the show when she's there. And when you look at people like Mahershala Ali for Moonlight, they don't, if someone's not in the movie as much, as long as like they kind of steal like the show when they're in it, which is kind of what supporting actor actress is about. It's the person who, while they're there, really kind of brings a presence. It does seem like a fair nomination. Amy Madigan for Weapons, like I said, I'm slightly indulging myself because between that and Weapons, I haven't decided. It's my favorite movie. Between Weapons and One Battle After Another, I haven't decided yet, but it may be my favorite movie of the year, and it's probably my favorite performance of the year so far. So I am indulging myself. But as you said, the category so far doesn't seem particularly strong. And with her career narrative, the fact that Weapons is starting to make the conversation as other things are released, and things like After the Hunt and Rental Family, Jay Kelly start going down in the ranks, it does give room for something like Weapons to kind of boost up. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I don't actually think it's going to be that big of a player, but in a complete like ideal world, Amy Madigan would be the most deserved nomination. Inga, again, I'm not going to try and say the whole name, from Sentimental Value. I haven't seen it, so I'm a little bit kind of going into this blind. But just from general research I've done, out of the two supporting players, she seems like the more reasonable one to get nominated. Not only that, though, it being for a foreign film, um, her being from that relative country, it kind of does make more sense that she'd kind of pop in at the end. And then Ariana Grande for Wicked for Good, which is my number one. Um, I think she came close last year. I know that might sound stupid as Zoe Saldana swept the season, but with the Amelia Perez controversy, if that had gone on for a little bit longer, it may have given voters enough more time to actually go for Ariana instead of Zoe Saldana. But from what I know of in Wicked for Good, her character has more of a presence. It's more of an emotional, heavy role for both her and Cynthia Erivo. So if it's just as good as the first, with that on top, I think that the conversation could change come November time. So I'm going to try and get in there early and be a little bit risky and have her at my number one.
Yeah, I can understand that. I don't know how I particularly feel about that film right now. You know what I mean? Like it's so
Hmm.
weird because it did so strongly. You know what I mean? Nomination wise, you know what I'm saying? It did very strongly. Be interesting to see how when it comes out, what that kind of looks like to me. I know I kind of have her on the outside looking in right now, which is odd considering she was such a strong player last year. You know what I mean? She was very
Yeah.
much somebody in the thick of things last year. I think for that one, and I can appreciate the idea of being kind of on the surface early, but for me, it's just kind of I'm really in the middle of just waiting to kind of see it come out. But all right, so before we dive into best supporting actor, give us your best supporting actress list 5 through 1 more time.
Okie dokie. So, number 5, Chase Infinity, One Battle After Another. Number 4, Amy Madigan for Weapons. Number 3, Tiana Taylor, One Battle After Another. Number 2, Inga IL for Sentimental Value. And Ariana Grande, my number 1 for Wicked for Good.
Yeah, for me, I've got Amy Madigan for Weapons. I've got Gwyneth Paltrow for Marty Supreme, Chase Infinity,
Mhm.
Inga, and then Tiana Taylor at the top right now. All right, supporting actor. Talk to me about supporting actor. This is one where, in my opinion, I feel like we can almost throw away the key on who I think is going to win this category. And I'll start us off a little bit. Obviously, right now, obviously there is some heavy players here. I feel like this might be the strongest category right now when it comes to battling it out of who's in what spot and how we're going to navigate that. But for me right now, I've got I still have Adam Sandler. I know that the Jay Kelly's like slowly taking a massive dip over the last few weeks. But Jay Kelly Adam Sandler for James Kelly at 5. Jeremy Strong, Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. Apparently, he's the best performance of that film. And then
Mhm.
Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Paul Mescal in Hamnet. And then, of course, who I have my predictive winner right now is Sean Penn for One Battle After Another. Give me your 5, sir.
Same people, just in a different order. So number 5, I've got Adam Sandler for Jane Kelly. Number 4, Jeremy Strong for Springsteen, Delivery Nowhere. Then number 3, Paul Mescal for Hamnet. Number 2, Sean Penn, One Battle After Another. Number 1, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value.
Yeah, there's from the moment that Sean Penn hits the screen with that walk, I was like, we're in for like an all-timer here. And I just feel like if this film is going to dominate in a potential way that I think that it can at the Oscars, you know what I mean? I feel like it's really going to dominate in a lot of different levels. Um, I think it's gonna come with at least 1, maybe 2 actor wins, and I feel like if you're looking across the board at potential locks for wins, I really feel like Sean Penn is probably the safest of the 4, I think, to potentially win. Obviously, Hamnet is apparently, like, incredible. Apparently, Stellan Skarsgård is really good as well in sentimental value, but for me, it's just where I believe this kinda comes in. There's a lot of other I think this is might be the 5 that I feel the most comfortable in. Actually, 4, I'd say.
Yeah.
I feel confident in the 4 of these 5. If we hear them in January, it wouldn't shock me. What about you? Talk to me about your picks there.
So, my 4 and 5, I think, are very changeable, and there's a good chance it won't be there come Oscar nomination morning. But the top 3, I'm very certain on, and I feel like they're all battling out for the win, especially Stellan Skarsgård and Sean Penn. So, I have Stellan Skarsgård at my number 1 because for so long they is not quite the same as J.K. Simmons. He's nowhere near as much as like a working actor as J.K. Simmons was, but he's been very much the underdog, taking on a lot of supporting roles, just kind of consistently working, consistently popping up in both international films and US based UK based films as well. And I feel like the goodwill towards him as an actor, as well as a person and as a character, has really, really, really built to the point where it's going to feel so good giving Stellan Skarsgård the award, considering Sean Penn's won twice before. But as soon as Sean Penn hits the screen, he's so menacing, goofy, just scary, but then also weirdly empathetic at the same time. So he really, I'd say not that I've seen Sentimental Value, but it seems like he maybe has the more layered role compared to Stellan Skarsgård. So having seen Sean Penn, my bias is leaning towards he could also win. I'd personally love to see it because I just think he's fucking great in that movie, and every single time he was on screen, I was like, oh shit, like I don't like this guy. But then also there's Paul Mescal, and will he ultimately win? I'm not sure, but he has had a really good few years. There's a lot of goodwill towards him. People, especially on X, are falling in love with this guy. Him as a person, he's very charming. He does great well in interviews, so he's clearly very good at campaigning himself. And if Hamlet's as emotional as they say it is, he could maybe potentially win. Like I feel like, but I don't feel like he's got as easy as a path as Skarsgård or Penn, who could easily win BAFTA's Critics' Choice Golden Globe. I feel like Mescal could win BAFTA Supporting Actor, which does sometimes lead to an Oscar win. I mean, the most recent example I can think of is Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies, just won the BAFTA, won the Oscar, but yeah, nah, I'm not there quite yet. I'll see it first and I'll make my mind up.
Yeah, I feel you there. It, it's definitely interesting. There's a lot of different avenues I think you could go here, and it's you can't go wrong. But I just feel like we're at least the top 3 almost feel confident. And going over those one more time for best supporting actor, I've got Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly, Jeremy Strong for Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value, Paul Mescal for Hamnet, and then Sean Penn for One Battle After Another winning. What about you, Benji?
I have Adam Sandler for Jay Kelly at number 5, Jeremy Strong number 4 for Springsteen's Lovely Nowhere, number 3 Paul Mescal for Hamnet, number 2 Sean Penn for One Battle After Another, and number 1 Stellan Skarsgård, Sentimental Value.
All right, let's shift on over to the best actress category. Give me your 1 through 5.
My 1 through 5. Oh, so number 1 for actress, correct?
Mhm.
Number 1, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet. Number 2, Renata Reitzer for Sentimental Value. Number 3, Cynthia Erivo for Wicked for Good. Number 4, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. And number 5, Amanda Seyfried, The Testament of Anne.
Yeah, for me, I've got um let's see here. Sorry, I'm not switching. I'm looking. Yeah, I've got Amanda Seyfried for The Testament of Anne Lee. Obviously Emma Stone for Bugani. I just think that domination is, it's Emma Stone almost, you know what I mean? And switching over to the lead,
We'll see.
yeah. Um, Cynthia Erovia for Wicked for Good, Renette for Sentimental Value, and Jessie Buckley in that lead here of the Clubhouse. Obviously, some performances that we're seeing kind of go up and down over the last few weeks, right?
Yeah.
We're kind of seeing Sydney Sweeney go out of the picture, I think. We're starting to see Julia Roberts kind of disappear from that picture. Right now, of your 5, who do you think on the outside looking in might have a chance to kind of slide in there over the next, I don't know, let's just say 2-3 weeks?
The only one that I've kind of got on the outside that I think could maybe happen is Emma Stone. But I'm looking at all of these actresses now, and ultimately, I don't want to be this confident so early, but I really do feel confident because I don't see many other performances really sneaking their way in. Like a couple months ago, I would have never have had Rose Byrne or Amanda Seyfried on my list, but things just keep getting knocked off, knocked off, knocked off, knocked off, to the point where I've only left with my top 3 that feel strong, and we're still waiting on Wicked for Good. That could drop off if that becomes a nothing movie. So yeah, Emma Stone is the only other one left I think could have a chance. Maybe Julia Roberts, but I feel like that's just going to be a Golden Globes thing, and that's it. Um, but I am excited for Best Actress in regardless here, because if my top 3 are correct and they'll get in and they are the 3 strongest, we could be in for a hell of a year, because I say this every single year, and except from 2020, 2023, 2024, beg my pardon, when Emma Stone won over. Oh no, that was right. No, they have always been right. It could. Fuck. I've lost my train of thought. I'm thinking of the 2023 one when Yeoh won over Kate Blanchett. Kate Blanchett won BAFTA, but Michelle Yeoh still went on to win the Oscar. However, more often than not, BAFTA are the absolute kings and queens of predicting Best Actress. They predicted Olivia Colman. They predicted Frances McDormand. Even going back to Marion Cotillard for La Vie en Rouge, they predicted that. They predicted Meryl Streep when they were the only ones who gave an award before the Oscars. They are amazing at predicting Best Actress, and these top 3, there's a case for all of them being strong at BAFTAs, because Jessie Buckley, she's well loved in the UK. She's a British actress. She's in Hamnet. It's so far been kind of the front runner for the strongest performance, so she could easily win. Renana Wright, she's a European actress in a European film that's probably going to do very well at the BAFTAs. Then you have Cynthia Erivo, who's just like an acting and stage, like almost a legend, even though she's young. She's just so well loved in this country as well for Wicked for Good. And if Wicked for Good ends up being strong, she's got a strong case to win BAFTA. So I do kind of predict that going into the season, we are going to have a real race between 2 or maybe 3 people for the ultimate win. So yeah, forgive me for my little stumble there, but yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah, I think a couple performances, one performance in particular that we don't know a whole lot about that I feel like could potentially play a player is obviously Jennifer Lawrence in Die My Love.
Hmm.
I do think that she has that history with the Academy, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah,
it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the kind of performance I feel like. And then Tessa Thompson for Hedda, depending on how strong they push this film, I do think that's another movie that, I mean, honestly, if it's even decent, I can foresee Amazon pushing this a lot harder than After the Hunt, because After the Hunt has gone just boom, you know what I
Yep.
mean? So like I feel like Amazon is definitely going to be want to be in the conversation. And if you look at the aesthetics from that film, you're definitely looking at a movie that has costumes. It has a lot of the different things that you could see below the line could pair with Tessa getting in as well. But definitely feels top heavy, as you said. I feel like this almost is Jesse Buckley's year because of the performance level of what we've seen people talking about how it's the best performance of her career and stuff like that. And then right around that same time, people are gonna start seeing those trailers for Frankenstein. I know we saw the one or the Bride, sorry. They've already started creeping out. The trailers already creeped out a little bit, but could that help give that little nudge? You know what I mean? Just kind of keeping her face in the forefront of the conversation. But I definitely feel like it's Jesse Buckley right now against the world, and then depending on how everything else kind of portrays itself out the rest of the award season. All right, so give me that 5 through one more time.
So number one, I have Jesse Buckley for Hamnet. Number two, Renata Reisver for Sentimental Value. Number three, Cynthia Revo for Wicked for Good. Number four, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs, I'd Kill You. If I had legs, I'd kick you. Fucking hell. Number five, Amanda Seyfried, The Testament of Anne Lee. Yeah, I seem to get very aggressive right there. So best actress just really it eats me up.
Apparently, he wants to kick me. All That's all I heard from that, folks, sitting at home. I just heard that he wants to kick me. I currently have Emma Stone in the fifth slot. I got Amanda Seyfried in the fourth slot. Cynthia Rovio for Wicked for Good in three. Renee, number two for Sentimental Value, and number one, Jesse Buckley for Hamnet. All right,
Nice.
now let's transition into our final of the four acting categories. That's going to be fun to talk about. We have Best Actor. This one, to me, we have so many like powerhouse names that are involved in the
Yep.
conversation that will make for a fun race, in my opinion, just based on whether or not they're good films or whether or not any of them are good films. You know what I mean? Even if the performances or whatever they have and don't have a lot of nominations. But if you look at Best Actor, you're almost looking at a lot of films that might not have a lot elsewhere almost, but also we're seeing some performances kind of go up and down. So it's like I feel like there is like seven, maybe eight names in the conversation, but how are we going to look upon those? So give me your 5 through 1 first for best actor right now.
So five, three, one. So
Mhm.
number five, Daniel Day Lewis for Anemone. Number four, got Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. Number three, Springsteen, Delivering Me Nowhere, Jeremy Allen White. Number two, Timothy Chalamet for Mighty Supreme. And then number one, I've made a shift. I've gone with Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another.
I I see it. I see it. I do. I do.
Mhm.
All right. So for me, I went George Clooney at number 5 for Jay Kelly. Um, number 4, I've got Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere. Number 3, I have Dwayne Johnson, The Smashing Machine. Number 2, I have Leonardo DiCaprio for One Battle After Another. And number 1, I do have Timothy Chalamet. Um, talk to me a little bit about your thoughts maybe on the Dwayne Johnson's way in, right? Because it feels like this film is kind of divisive in so many
Mhm.
different ways right now because there's people that really like the film, there's people that don't like the film. It seems like there is a massive shift in the middle of all of this that how does it's almost like how does it overcome? You know what I mean? Because it's not going to have a whole lot of nominations from, you know, expectations of nominations from other areas where it's got the power there. It's almost on the willpower of Dwayne Johnson himself almost, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that in the acting categories, and Andra Day for the United States versus Billie Holiday is a good example of this. The movie doesn't necessarily have to be great. If you give a good performance, that can be enough just to shift it into the acting category alone. I think with Dwayne Johnson as well, he's going to be campaigning, and he kind of already is. He's on the press tour right now for the Smashing Machine. There's a lot of goodwill going towards Dwayne Johnson. I can't think of anybody who hates the guy. From what I've heard, and I'm seeing it next week, it's genuinely meant to be a great performance. Um, and I feel like a broken record at this point, but as things keep dropping off, these acting categories just keep getting weaker and weaker and weaker to the point where, as like people drop off, he can then move up a space. People drop off, he moves up a space. So whilst I don't think he's going to be in any sort of winning conversations, I think the nomination at this point is more likely than it is unlikely. And when I look at the potential nomination package that could come beforehand, I think he's easily going to get to Golden Globes. Critics' Choice, because they go with more than five, I think you get into. SAG, I'm feeling really good about, because SAG love rewarding, like Hollywood, like elite. Well, not like elites. Like, I know he's not known for being an actor, but he's very respected, very well known. And SAG are gonna love seeing their buddy doing like a great performance in, like, something completely out of the realms of what he's used to doing. The only one that I'm nervous about is BAFTA, which I'm not entirely confident he's going to get. But if he does, then by the time BAFTA nominations, if he has one, it's going to be a completely different conversation. But yeah, no, I mean, I know a lot of people disagree with me. I know a lot of people have him at like 7 or 6, but I'm feeling good about the guy. I think there's optimism to be had about him getting in.
I totally agree, 1,000%. I really feel like, um, first off, his likability factor it's huge for me. You know what I mean? Like, people are wanting to see this nomination. I feel like there's a lot of
Mhm.
goodwill coming in that format of, hey, this guy is likable. This is something different. It's the range. It's the, hey, he finally took on this thing. That's why I think SAG is almost a lock because of what you said, right? You know what I mean? SAG
Yeah.
feels like a lock. And I feel like once you start putting the pieces together, that's where you start to see, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Like, here we are, type of scenario. You know what I mean? Like, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So, for me, that's why I have him. You know what I mean? I have him slotted number 3, because I feel like this is going to be a Marty versus Leo, or Leo versus Timothy battle potentially. And
Potentially.
you know what I mean? Which could be a fun battle because it's the old versus new. But I'm not counting him out winning yet. Not yet. I do feel like I feel like if Marty is not that good, or even if it's mediocre, I
Mhm.
almost feel like there's a way for him to be at least in the conversation to potentially. Now, obviously, he's gonna have to win in places that he's gonna win, and I just don't know if that happens.
Well, where
If
do you
let's
realistically think he could actually
SAG,
win?
SAG,
Really?
and I think it's
I'm
because
100% there for the nomination, but winning, woof. I mean, I'm
it would be
happy. I
huge.
mean,
Right.
yeah,
It'd be different. But you're asking, like, where do I think he could? And I think that's where he could. Now,
could.
DiCaprio is a powerhouse. You know what I mean? But is
Mhm.
it, hey, you already have, you know what I mean? Like, you already have the cookie. You know what I mean? Like, you've already won that. Like, but is if there's anybody in this world deserving of another Oscar, it's definitely Leonardo DiCaprio. He probably should have 3 already. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Easily.
but like you say, DiCaprio is a powerhouse, and in this performance as well, where he's paying like a goofball, weed smoking
Something we've
dad.
never seen him before, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And he's genuinely great at doing it, and people are gonna love that. And like you say, people think he should have won more awards than he has, so he's gonna have that going in.
100%. I don't disagree with you. I just feel like if for some reason Marty Supreme's not good, I think if Marty Supreme's not that good, I think DiCaprio just runs away with this award season. It's going to
Mhm.
be sad because I feel like Michael B. Jordan should be in this conversation. The best thing that could happen for Michael B. Jordan is Marty Supreme not that good. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he needs more and more films to not be good. And I
I
think,
struggle to see it though. I think Marty Supreme could end up being like amazing. I'm actually,
agreed.
even though acting performances this year are kind of going down under, when you purely look at movies coming out, where we live in a world where we could have like not just like just great movies necessarily that kind of get into best picture, but genuinely like really great movies, because we've got one battle after another, Sinners, Hamnet, and even Sentimental Value, I'd say, from what I've heard, fits into that slot. And then you could also have Mighty Supreme, like these revolutionary, amazing movies that genuinely will go down in time. And again, I've kind of got the same feeling I have had about One Battle as I do for Mighty Supreme. I just feel like it's gonna be that type of thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but and if you think about it, it's kind of funny to like look at the potential nominations in this category from Timothy to Jeremy Allen White is more new age Hollywood to
Mhm.
DiCaprio. You have Daniel Day Lewis. I have Clooney. Then you go to the super kind of older age of Hollywood, and then you smack in The Rock, Dwayne Johnson, who's in that conversation. It's like it's such an interesting perspective of people. So all right, before we go, give me your 5 through 1 in Best Actor, and I'll give mine in Best Actor as well.
Number 5, Daniel Day Lewis for Anemone. Number 4, Dwayne Johnson for The Smashing Machine. Number 3, Jeremy Allen White for Springsteen Delivering Me Nowhere. Number 2, Timothy Chalamet for Mighty Supreme. Number 1, Leo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another.
Yeah, for me, I've got number 5, George Clooney for Jay Kelly, Jeremy Allen White, Springsteen, Deliver Me from Nowhere, Dwayne Johnson, The Smashing Machine, Leonardo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, and Timothy Chalamet in Marty Supreme. All right, that's it. 4 acting
Whee!
categories locked in and loaded. Benji, you and I will be back more and more often. Obviously, the season is in full swing, so because of that, you'll see a lot more of our pretty little faces. But thank you
Lucky
guys
you.
so much for tuning in to another episode of the Award Central podcast, breaking down the acting categories. We'll be back very soon. Like I said, we're going to try to make this thing like a weekly scenario now that the season is kicked off. So we look forward to chopping it up and giving our predictions to you guys.